Welcome, everybody, to the Time Rust... Don't be laughing at me. Time Rust Brain Trust podcast. All right, this is going to be a special day because we're not going to talk much about the PS4, unlike last time. And this time we have a special guest, Steve. We're going to go ahead and do the introductions now. Steve, if you would go ahead and introduce yourself.
I'm Steve. Of course.
No, it's
This
backgrounds. What are you into?
What are you into?
What am I into? Let's see. I'm an RPG gamer from back in the day. I started with Final Fantasy II on my Super with in Secret of Mana. I've been a loyal PlayStation fan ever since the 64 let me down. And yeah, you keep laughing.
Yeah, we'll save that for a little later.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
Let's see. Was an art student for a while. I've been avid in gaming and tabletop gaming for as long as I can remember. And I am a very, very twistic hater of George Lucas and everything he's ever done. But, you know, I like the occasional action movie and such. So,
And
fits right in.
And as of recently, getting back into wrestling.
yeah, I was, I'm not gonna lie, I was a little Hulkamaniac back in the day. You know, I enjoyed me some Hulk Hogan and Ultimate Warrior, and then you know, I stopped watching for a long time, and then thanks to Nate and the guys here that I got back into it because of the the 2013 wrestling game.
WWE 13, last game by THQ.
THQ, rest in peace.
Such a tragedy.
I got some news on that later.
Yeah, I was going to say, someone better have some news on that. I was about to bring it up, but we'll go. And then, once again...
Eli, what's up? It's me.
Hey, it's Marquise. Yo.
And this is your MC, Nate. Let's go straight into... What are you doing? So, Steve... What are you doing?
Well, right now I'm playing a lot of Guild Wars 2. I just got my my Char Warrior to 80, and it's pretty rad. But in the last couple of days, I've been heavily playing the last Mass Effect 3 multiplayer DLC. I'm really enjoying that. They added a lot of new content, a bunch of hazard versions of the old maps, and I'm heavily anticipating March 5th's release of the Citadel DLC.
Awesome.
That's going to be the final
DLC for the game.
Final DLC for the game, yeah.
Which, oddly enough, is not going to be released on the Wii U.
Dun, dun, dun.
Which I can't blame him with the horrible sales of the Wii
Controversy!
Yeah. It just seems odd. It seems a bit odd that they would...
Aside from that, I've been... got together with some friends last night and played a decent game of Vampire the Requiem.
Random. That's pretty random.
Well, he does a lot of tabletop games.
Yeah.
I run a couple, I write a lot of stuff, and I really just enjoy the whole thing. I've been playing tabletop games since I was 13. So...
Well,
cool.
we're in one, and we're just waiting on What's-His-Face to get it back together. But hey, and then, you're in another, you're like one or two more with him, right?
Yeah,
so that's fine.
I'm gaming, let's see, like... Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays.
It's hardcore. I haven't played a tabletop game in forever.
Maybe you should. It's a really good chance to do all kinds of things.
Last time you played, I believe, I don't know, were you there when we played Castle Ravenloft?
I've played it with you guys a couple times, but I don't know if I was there.
That was the one we unleashed. Like we unleashed every monster, and we had to. Oh, that was so much fun.
And you fell asleep.
I have narcolepsy. Excuse.
We're the game I'm playing on Saturdays. We're currently play testing the Fantasy Flight Star Wars game, and it's not bad. Except they're selling the $30 version of it, and it's got 18 pages of errata on the internet. So it was a little much to go through, but it's a fun time.
Okay, Eli, what are you doing?
Well, this week I picked up finally a copy of Crash Mo on 3DS. It was on sale, so I decided to quit waiting around, and I've been puzzling around with that. It's a great little fun game. eShop for life.
Okay then.
Playing, of course, some more. Still playing Fire Emblem Awakening. The game's amazing.
You always will be playing that game.
I will be playing that for a very, very long time.
I heard it's one of the only reasons you would ever buy a 3DS.
Yeah, it's a very, very strong reason to pick up a 3DS.
Game of the year for 3DS right now.
Until Pokemon comes out.
Well,
Gotta catch them all.
I have to catch them all.
That's a preference.
It's not an option for me.
Yeah, but
You
now
should
it's
have a
only on
Pokemon
3DS,
tattoo.
and I don't want to buy another system
Yeah.
to play.
Well, see, that's where Fire Emblem comes in.
That's why Nintendo
Really
loves your
good.
money, but hates you.
There's a lot of good stuff on the eShop, too. Like, I was surprised when I got around in there and started looking around. But I've been playing Crash Mo and that, and I played they released the Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate demo on there. I tried to play that. I cannot play Monster Hunter. That game, the controls suck.
You know, I keep thinking that Nintendo would probably be best off if they cornered the handheld market more than they already have.
Yeah,
Just
I mean,
left
absolutely.
the consoles to the people that know how to make
If
them.
they started making games for Xbox and PS3 and Mario went cross-platform, that'd be one of the greatest things ever.
It would. I think they'd take off in a direction more so than Sega did, where Sega failed essentially.
Sega kind of flopped at doing that, and they're releasing such hot burners as what was that one that came out the other week?
Aliens.
Yeah,
Aliens, Colonial
Yeah, see, I
Marines.
couldn't even remember.
The biggest letdown, Colonial Space Marine.
Yeah.
I saw that. I thought that game was going to be so amazing.
Everybody did
and
I wanted
I
it.
saw
for
the videos
all of the
and
years
all
that it was
yeah.
in development.
You guys are making me sad now.
It suffered from the Duke
Jeez.
Nukem Forever syndrome.
Oh,
Yeah.
Dude,
Exactly.
sucks.
Too many hands in the pot.
And you know, it's funny though. Same developer in the end, Gearbox.
Because I mean, they're
They
trying
get
to
handed
save
the crap.
they're trying to save this stuff.
And then
Yeah.
it's kind of like people are like, okay, we've been developing this game for so long. Who can we hand this off to so that they will take the final blast of hate?
yeah.
And they throw it
Who
to
can
Gearbox.
weather the storm?
But you know what? Gearbox holds strong because they go get through it. Here's Borderlands.
Yeah, here's one of
Yeah.
the top games of last year. Here you go. Done.
I still need to play through that game.
Yeah, me too. I hate myself for not.
Boys, I will help you power level.
Yeah, we need
I will
to.
show you the way.
We'll do Twitch TV here soon. But we'll need more Elgatos.
We'll get more.
My Elgato should be arriving soon, so I'll be up and running.
And I'll
on
try
that.
to get mine in the next couple weeks.
Was
And
it- you got it on PS3 or the PC?
PC.
Okay. Well, then you can't just join us.
Sorry.
If you want to make a new character on mine and we can split screen, I can do
It's no
that.
big deal. Gaming hasn't evolved to that place where everything is the same. So
Yeah.
It will in a
The,
generation after this one, probably.
yeah, when Microsoft decides that it's had enough, and maybe in a blue moon or a special time when all the gaming companies will be like, you know what, we should make
we
one
should work
big
together.
giant system that everyone can make money off of.
I think that's what's going to happen simply because if you look at the
I don't think
companies
that'll
now,
ever happen because they're
Sony's not doing that
they're
well,
so
like
greedy.
except for their game company.
They would
yeah.
rather fail than partner with their competitors.
That's just because they're Japanese.
Well, then why
mindset.
is if you think about it that way, though, if in that regard, then why is the new Xbox 720? Why does it have a Blu-ray player though?
Because they have no other alternative.
They
Yes.
have to have one.
They have to have one because the file size for the games is going to be so much bigger.
I mean, theoretically, they could put a
They-
HD DVD drive inside.
Oh, wouldn't
but
that be like-
Because they've got a bunch of
That'd
their,
be-
they got
they got a bunch of this sitting around somewhere, and they got to do something with it.
It's like, guess what, guys? It's back.
It's back.
It'd be
It's
like-
huge.
They'll pull a page from Nintendo's playbook and go, you know what? This isn't a 64-bit processor. It's just 232s because we had them lying around.
Yeah,
Aw.
Oh, you're so hurt about that.
probably the.
I wasted a Christmas gift on that. When I saw my friend playing Resident Evil, and I thought to myself, man, I would love to play that game. And then I felt sad.
Okay.
I got one other.
But I
little
got Mario
tidbit.
cut out of the deal, and that's one of the greatest games ever made.
That's the only
true.
reason.
GoldenEye 64.
And GoldenEye, yeah. All right, Eli.
One other little tidbit that I played. I logged into World of Warcraft for about 10 minutes.
Boo.
And
Kung Fu Panda.
It's a good thing I did because all my mail was about to expire
Kung
in
Fu
30
Panda,
minutes.
the,
So I logged in like 30 minutes before all my mail would have expired and automatically deleted.
A bunch of it.
Yeah,
Most of
because
it.
I send a bunch of items back and forth between two of my characters because I don't have enough storage space. So I would have lost like all my items for a game that I haven't been playing.
I I don't know what to say to that.
I
really don't.
see, that-
I just wanted to put it out there because it was
That's the
so
part
stupid
where,
and lame.
Where,
It's terrible.
where I found that Guild Wars is better than from my perspective of Warcraft, because they're not trying to be to recreate the fluke that is Warcraft, but
They're doing their own thing.
they're doing their own thing. But it's I don't feel obligated to play Guild Wars
Yeah.
because I'm paying for it, like with World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
But like they offer so much more versatility. So it's like I feel like logging in because I want to play, because I want to experience the story. Whereas Warcraft, you log in because you feel like hating yourself and grinding.
Aw.
I just have so
It's
much
true.
invested in Warcraft at this point.
Oh, see,
that
that's the problem.
I will always be.
I
You're
played-
obligated.
I will always be playing that at some
until
point.
they shut down the
I
servers
played the game
in 5 years.
I played the game for 6 years, and at one point I felt obligated to play that game because I had a guild.
I used to feel like
I had a
that.
high level character. I was running raids, and then I told myself, I was like, you know what? This is sucking my life away. I'm gonna go play better video games. Like I was neglecting better games
Yep.
because of World of
Yeah.
Warcraft.
I was doing the
And-
same thing until this expansion came out, and my guild decided to kind of go all their separate ways, and some people joined other raiding guilds and tried to get me to go along with them, and I was like, well, you know, I don't really want to do that anymore.
Plus the graphics are still awful.
Well,
They're not awful.
yeah, they're really old,
Really?
and no matter what
They're
they
not
do,
awful.
it can't help it at all. Well, which reminds me of something else, but we'll get to that in the news section.
Yeah.
All right, Marquise,
I don't know why
what are
this
you
chair is creaky this
doing?
evening.
I've been playing through GTA 4. I know that sounds ancient and
It's
old
an
right about
amazing
now.
game.
But I've just started getting into it heavily. I'm about 20% in. So I'm like, yeah, I'm feeling it now. I'm
Finding some hidden packages.
yeah. I mean, it also reminds me that I have to stop playing after 2 hours because it's so tedious.
It is, but the story is so good. The ability to alter how the story goes with the choices you make, like how profound it can be.
But see, you expect that after every game now, especially after Mass Effect. You expect that having that ability to change and affect the game by your choice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but GTA 4 is a couple years old, though.
But it's more than that.
Yeah, it's
It's like 4 years.
Yeah, about
That
4 or
it,
5 years. Because 5's ready to drop.
Well, when did Red Dead come out? Was it 2009?
no, Red Dead's only a couple years old. It was a 2010 release.
2010.
Yeah.
All right.
That game was
And then,
super good.
so-
Yeah, that was a
I
good game.
played
I
Red
played the
Dead.
mess out of Red
Played
Dead.
Red
man.
Dead Revolver on the PlayStation 2. I still have a copy.
I played the mess out of Red Dead and I got it's amazing.
We played the multiplayer on Red Dead so much in college. Split screen. It was just for
They
some
need to
reason it
make
was just
another
so
one.
much
I don't know
fun.
why Rockstar isn't
It's
making
so
another one.
good shooting your friends with a bow and arrow.
Well, who says they're not going to make another one?
I'm just saying. that-
Why another one isn't out yet?
Yeah,
because
why
of
another
Rockstar.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's
Max
like,
Payne took like. 10
But you know what?
years.
When they do bring a game out, I'm not gonna lie, Rockstar puts out some quality crap.
It's kind of Rockstar's in the same level for me that Blizzard Entertainment used to be. Now that I hate Blizzard Entertainment, but still, it's like I played Diablo 2 back when I was in high school, and it took them almost 13 years to release Diablo 3. But it was, games like that, like StarCraft and other games, they were pretty good. So I'll give Rockstar their time, because unlike Blizzard, I still want to play Rockstar games.
Oh.
I'm sorry, man.
Yeah, but-
Activision Blizzard has really dropped the ball for me.
Well, yeah, and look at the Rockstar games that are out there. They're just good.
Arkham City and Asylum, both Rockstar
That's
games.
Rocksteady.
Oh, it's Rocksteady.
Yeah.
Ah, see, I get my publishers mixed up.
He's like, they're all Rockstar.
They're all rock something.
not to paint those games in a lesser amazing light.
They are pretty.
Arkham City and Asylum were still amazing.
Yeah.
Both of those games were my favorite game the year they came out. So
Yeah, you know what? I do love me some Arkham Asylum.
Everyone wants to be the
Arkham
Batman.
Asylum by far better than City, in my opinion.
I don't know. I
Because of
don't
a lot
know.
more, a lot more focused.
No. I liked being the go through Gotham City. I'm sorry.
The whole trash part of it, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just to be able to
It was nice,
the
but
rooftop, and
you can't say that it was more. It was not as focused in
That's what happens when you trade open world
I know.
for, a
Yeah.
linear
I would
experience.
love to see another. Like, of course, they're going to make another one because
Yeah,
so
they-
much money
yeah.
off of them.
I think
But
they're making
I would
Arkham
love
World.
to see a. Like, I haven't really got into the Batman Incorporated, but I think a Batman Incorporated game done in that style would be pretty amazing, where you could choose which Batman you want to play as.
Arkham Incorporated.
Pretty
I want to play as all of the Batman.
Ever.
at once.
Well.
Including Batman Beyond.
Batman RTS.
I had
Ooh.
that suit on Arkham City, and I played through it the whole way because you didn't have to mess with a cape.
Capes are lame.
Capes are sweet.
Well, speaking of Arkham and Batman Incorporated, we can segue right into news here.
Wait,
He didn't get to
Oh, I'm
say
sorry.
that.
I have a ton.
Oh, jeez, Marquise.
I have a ton of stuff. I have been doing things this past week
Oh, well, you know
just
what?
to have stuff for this segment.
Okay, I'm sorry.
You're live
You're
just-
absolutely.
I am.
Just for the
It was
podcast.
just
Okay.
the segue was so good. I had to turn a bite on it. But okay, you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
what you
Oh
got.
no, we could have jumped to news like
Okay.
20 times.
Yeah.
But
Okay, but let me finish then, and then
yeah, get your
okay.
thing
I'm
out.
gonna let you
and-
finish.
Yeah.
Oh, you're allowing him to finish.
He's allowing me to finish. That's awesome. He just loves me so much.
Why you put the man down?
That's so good of you, though.
It's I read Dark Avengers number 187. Jeff Parker's done a good job with that. The transition from Thunderbolts to Dark Avengers, it's been a very smooth transition, I thought. Also read Avengers number 5. The Captain Universe story, which is very good. Hickman is writing the mess out of the Avengers right now.
Hickman for life.
I think he's doing a better job than Bendis was doing on the Avengers.
That's a bad idea. Stop.
It's not going to work. It's not
Stop,
going to work.
stop
out.
that. Stop.
Good job.
No, don't you eat. You crunch that. We're
I'm
punching
not gonna
you.
crunch it.
And well, let's see what movies did I watch real quick. I watched the Oscars this week,
It's not a movie, though.
but I know
Well,
it's
yeah.
what I watched.
I watched
It was
too.
about movies.
It's about movies.
I liked it. I thought Seth MacFarlane did a good job hosting.
I thought he was hilarious.
He got panned as one of. They didn't say he's one of the worst hosts, but they've said that he did a terrible job. That's what a lot of people feel.
when have they not said that an Oscar host did a terrible job?
Yeah.
To be fair, though, James Franco did a terrible job.
Well,
Yeah.
Well, you
It's
know.
him and Anne Hathaway. Anne Hathaway is like, I am so happy to be here. And James Franco is, this is stupid, and I'm high. Oh, that's
That's pretty much what it was.
Yeah.
Watched Green Lantern and Young Justice, of course.
I'm so sad that they're going away.
I know. I'm hurt. But
Teen Titans Go looks like the dumbest show I've ever seen. It's a grab for younger viewers, and I hate it.
Incredible Crew is a grab for younger viewers.
Yeah, but the Incredible Crew's not bumping off two shows I highly enjoy.
Well, this just means that my DVR will have more room on it, and I don't have to, watch something each week.
Young Justice is one of, if not the most highly downloaded show on iTunes right now.
And it's picking up fast.
And it's picking up fast, and they only have a few episodes left. Like the rest of the
I
season.
know. I don't want it to go away. It's that good.
I plan on buying the Blu-ray box set when they have like a complete series thing.
Yeah,
eventually,
but it's
'cause it was that good.
Like Green Lantern also is picking up. They just I mean, like I'm reading the most of the Green Lantern books right now, and they're coming to a point. But like when they started introducing like Larfleeze and the other characters that I already recognize, it's nice because when a kid will watch those shows, they'll be like, man, like the Earth 7 Heroes, which is where Young Justice is put. They're like, oh, these guys are great, like Nightwing and Miss Martian and all, and Kid Flash and all those different characters. It's a gateway to comic books and other media that makes up the mythos so good. Like Green Lantern, like the movie was subpar.
Ugh.
It felt like they rushed it so they could get to the good part, which is the rivalry between Hal Jordan and Sinestro. But the show, I mean, they've got Ron Perlman doing the voice of Sinestro, and then they're going to cancel the show, which makes me sad.
Oh, but see, with Young Justice, they're not only canceling the show, they're canceling the comic book too. They're canceling the comic book.
The comic book?
Yeah, they're canceling both
Why?
because DC is stupid.
they don't.
They don't know what they want. They don't know what they want.
It's
It's not like
good.
you look at Marvel. At least they know what they want.
Well, because
I know what I want.
Well, when you
Games.
have
Batman.
when you
Yes.
when you have something as powerful as Disney behind your company, they will tell you what they know, what you need to know, what you need.
But
to
they've
want.
got Warner Brothers behind them, which is an equally as powerful business. And Warner Brothers.
They are the biggest movie studio out there, except for maybe Disney. But Disney puts out more animated films.
And Disney puts out now that Disney has Marvel, they put out better superhero films.
And now they're putting
Disney
out
owns ABC. Disney owns.
Disney
Warner
owns,
Brothers
so many
owns
things.
CW.
That's nothing to.
Yeah, that's nothing.
Okay.
TNT.
No, that's one of the
Yeah.
major. The biggest show that came out this year on network television, like the biggest hit, Arrow.
Okay, yeah,
So
I can give you that one.
no, it is, and it's freaking. Eli's looking at it. He's got that frumpy face. It's that's a disapproving mom look. But mommy, can I play with the ninjas? Yeah, no. But it's
Yeah, that's exactly it.
that's the face you made. You're like, no.
It's the I disbelieve what you're saying face.
That's the, like, what?
All right, but to continue with what all they own, let's see, TNT, TBS, what was it, CNN? This is all Warner Brothers because it's Time Warner.
Yeah.
Cartoon Network. I know I'm forgetting more stuff, but it just keeps going. They own a ton of channels, and then they have one of the major networks. There's 5 major networks now, so CW is considered, even though it doesn't get the lowest ratings. NBC gets the lowest ratings, so it's actually better than NBC.
Well,
Yeah.
judging
Put
by
that
some
in
of the
your pipe and smash
judging by some of the shows that I've seen in NBC pipe out, it doesn't surprise me. The only one I'm really interested in is Community.
Community is good. Grimm is actually a lot of fun, and Revolution.
Parks and Recs.
Parks and
Revolution's-
Recs.
Okay, I got to give that one to you.
Evolution is horrible.
Revolution is enjoyable in that it's got
Celebrity Apprentice All Stars starts this Sunday.
You shut your mouth, you celebrity whore.
Right up.
Gary
Boom.
Busey. Dennis
Okay.
Rodman.
Okay, Gary. The only reason I would watch that is for Gary Busey.
Gary Busey's amazing.
Marquise, are you finished
I'm,
up?
I'm done, dude.
He's
Oh, wait,
amazing
Star
because
Wars:
he's
The Clone Wars.
All right. All right.
The show or
It's good.
The show.
the show is isn't it? Oh, I just got to point out this fact. It is a very sad day when a child-oriented, computer-generated TV show has better acting and writing than the movies that are directed and written by the creator of the franchise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's extremely
I
sad.
completely agree with that.
And that's when George Lucas was like, I should probably hand this on to someone that knows really what they're doing.
Walt Disney Company signed us. Oh, we'll sign a $4 billion paycheck. Here you go. Thank you.
And then he gave that money to charity because he doesn't need it.
Yeah, because he's already super, super rich, because instead of taking money to make Star Wars, he said, I'll just take the marketing, or not the marketing, but the merchandising money. I'll just take that. And they're like, oh, it's not going to sell. We don't care. And then, oh, yeah, hey, do you want a Han Solo in its original sealed thing at $3,000? So, yeah, it's kind of awesome.
Hey,
You'd buy it. You know you would if you
George
had
Lucas is one of the very few people in the world that, if he felt the need, he could plant a hot dog in the ground and throw dollar bills on it until it sprouted.
Sadly, at this point, I'm almost thinking it would happen, but that's just because he played his hand so well in selling the franchise.
Well, now we have a wealth of better directors and writers that are going to be working with
Hey,
it.
J.J.
Oh, yeah.
Abrams.
So they can resurrect that little piece of childhood that he destroyed.
All right. Well, I don't want to get into that too much because then I guess like, well,
Why,
yeah,
George Lucas?
But now
why?
kids love Clone
Why
Wars.
did you do it, George?
Well, Star Wars cried as he brutalized it.
I'll try not to go too long
Make me
because
more money.
I have I did way too much stuff in the last 2 weeks.
Okay, what have
you been
Defeated Far Cry 3, which is outstanding. The ending is amazing. Save. Someone will say, you can't go back after this. Save often after that point. Just save often.
Now, the PC version is weird, because I don't know if I can save... It doesn't let me choose a save slot when I save. It's a really weird PC version.
Then why does the 360
I don't know.
give you 3... Anyways.
It gives me 3 save slots, but I never get to pick which one I save to.
That's really odd.
Yeah.
Strange.
So then, beat that, and it's amazing. I played some Dishonored, which, after playing Far Cry 3, was really hard to play, because while it is a great game, it's not smooth, and in the first level, you're mostly in a dank sewer, in a prison, because you're escaping, and it's ugly, and then at the end of it, you're in a beautiful bar. And it's outstanding, and it's some of the best artwork I've seen in a game. I'm just so surprised. And the models are great. I do love the models. They have a cartoony look that is very original. I love that. This is, what was it? Bethesda paid for this game, their publisher. And, you know, I'm super surprised at how good it is. It has, like, the controls, though, they do have some issues. Far Cry 3 was so smooth, it was like butter, and then you get into this game, and it's rough. Like, the controls are just a little bit more rough. So, I kind of regret playing, you know...
Going right from one to the other.
Yeah, I should have played Dishonored first.
It's also relatively two different genres, right?
No.
So it's
they're very
first-person-
similar. They're first-person shooters that you can either do stealth or run and gun, and there's consequences for everything.
Okay.
So you get more XP in Far Cry 3 if you stealth kill, but you get, if you become an awesome, like, gunner, then it's also really rewarding. I'm sitting there with a sniper rifle, bam, 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 bam. But then if you go to Dishonored, same thing. There are consequences for leaving bodies everywhere. Supposedly there's like a spoiler thing about 3/4 into the game where that comes into play because there is a plague. I think zombies, I don't know.
That sounds amazing.
It's such a good game.
Adding zombies to anything nowadays, either it does one of two things.
Either makes it
It either makes it awful
Or it makes it
or
amazing.
amazing. And that will also give you two different outcomes. It will either make you a lot of money. I mean, Black Ops, for instance.
Or it'll end your franchise.
Getting another Nazi zombie mode. I bought World at War for Nazi zombies because I thought, I want to shoot zombies. So adding zombies to that game got Activision my money, which made me sad. I don't want to feed that monster.
Let's see what else. I watched Skyfall, which is fantastic.
I watched that too.
Good movie.
It was great.
Yeah,
I haven't seen it yet.
it's actually really good.
It's the first one with Daniel Craig that I enjoyed.
I like Casino Royale a lot.
I like Casino Royale. I like the riff tracks better, but
I like it.
Couldn't.
I like it. Him as Bond. I like it better because it is like dark and gritty, and it is less filled with ridiculousness.
See, that's
like that,
what I
though.
came.
Pierce
That's what I came to
Brosnan's
James
Bond
Bond for.
brought-
that's what I
ridiculousness.
love about GoldenEye. It was ridiculous, and it was
GoldenEye wasn't bad, and then but all the ones after that, where you're like, Q's giving you like he's making like sandwich jokes, he's giving you ridiculous gadgets, and it's just
Yep.
Well, eventually
great.
that studio was driven into the ground anyways, then had to be resurrected, and the only reason that Skyfall was made is because Sony tossed a ridiculous amount of money their way. But the thing is, that movie has made more money to date than The Dark Knight Rises. It's made over $1 billion worldwide. It made about 380
I can
million
understand
a year,
that because
over 800
in
million
Skyfall
worldwide.
you can understand everything that everyone says.
Oh, here we go. I heard Bane perfectly. Thank you very much.
You know,
That's the problem.
You must
That's
be,
the problem is that you heard Bane.
You must
That's
be
the
genetically
problem.
superior in some way because 90% of the time he talked, it was like.
Well, he was going for a degree as an audio engineer, so his neuron, neuron.
was born in it.
Oh, yeah.
God.
you had Batman who was like, "What's
With throat cancer, and then you had old British Bane.
And then you had Catwoman who was talking, and I just was too busy staring at her in the leather outfit.
She was so hot.
I really thought initially I didn't think that she could pull off that role, and then I was like, well, that's not bad. She doesn't care about anyone but herself, and then she ends up being the anti-hero that she is in the comic books.
She read Brubaker's entire Catwoman run, and she sat down with Ed Brubaker, and
see that's the thing though. When you get actors that care about what they're doing,
No, she really wanted to grab hold of that part, and it's like
well, because she probably watched the last Catwoman iteration and was like, I have to beat this no matter what.
well, yeah,
I kind of wish Christian Bale would have went up Who is it? Who does the voice of Batman?
You mean the Halle Berry Catwoman?
Yeah,
That
was
iteration?
awful.
Yeah, the movie Catwoman
oh.
was terrible.
He does the voice of Batman. He I forget his name right now. We all
You mean from the animated series?
Yeah.
What does anyone remember his name off the top of their head? From animated series Batman.
Oh, I hate you. Why you put me on the spot?
I don't
Well,
remember.
he tried to remember.
I know who you're talking.
Yeah.
Kevin Conroy.
Kevin
Yeah,
Conroy.
Conroy, yeah.
Bam for the win.
Yeah,
Nice.
good job.
Thank you.
Just like I wish you
You prevented my brain from
Teach
exploding.
me-
Oh yeah, it was
to be
smoked.
Batman and Bruce Wayne.
It's kind of
Yeah.
like just in the same light. After being involved in the animated series for so long, I enjoyed Heath Ledger as the Joker, but forever it will always be Mark Hamill.
Hamill.
For me.
That's right. It will Kevin Conroy will be he is the voice of Batman.
Oh yeah.
And that's always been I can read when I read the comic books. That's whose voice I hear. I hear that Batman.
Kind of like when I was a little disorienting seeing the Batman Beyond costume on Bruce Wayne because I love the animated series and I kept thinking he doesn't sound like Terry McGinnis.
Yeah.
Well, in the first episode he did wear it though.
yeah.
So it was like, oh, hey, throw back to the first episode.
It was pretty good.
I've also been watching what was it? Game of Thrones, the season 2 Blu-ray box set, and the features are good. The video quality is outstanding. It doesn't get any better for Game of Thrones on that video quality. So I know we gotta talk about the content of Game of Thrones. So I just wanted to emphasize the box set because I got HBO Go. I could watch it whenever I want, but I want to see 1080p. I want to see extra features. And I want to be able to watch it when my internet's down. So, bam, box set. It's outstanding. The box set itself is amazing because it's got the crown on it, and it's just beautiful.
I can agree with that. Having read the books and watching the show,
Finished the book.
it is.
Fail.
Wait, you haven't fit.
I haven't even read the book, so
I will let you borrow them. They were a great read. But having read the books and watched the show, seeing it makes me feel like it gives me a good feeling when I watched the first season and there was such a huge production quality because I love the series so much. And I have to give my hat off to HBO for doing it right for once. Lately, normally when I not to be hated on, but when I see I've watched recent stuff with The Walking Dead, I did not approve of how some of the directions they've taken it. But
A small victory.
when someone does it right, it has to be acknowledged. Game of Thrones is amazing.
Walking Dead's got has had a lot of behind the scenes turmoil. A lot.
Haters gonna hate. So
I know they're not haters. I'm talking about
they need to make They need to make a second series, like a spin-off. It should just be called
That doesn't
the
suck.
Daryl Show.
Nah. Well, you know what? They can mix the Daryl show with what was it? The video game, and then just get a cast for the video game, combine it, done.
Very pleasantly surprised about the Walking Dead video game. How well it turned. I actually enjoyed it very heavily, and I mean, I really stopped watching Walking Dead halfway through season 2 because I couldn't find that little girl, Sophia, and I was just like, I'm done with this.
Yeah.
I'd rather see zombies than hear them all the time. Mm-hmm. And I played the video game, and I was very surprised at how much emotional investment that you put in the well-being of this little girl.
Yeah.
It was way sweet.
I haven't
Game is
hardly
amazing.
played any of it. I did take advantage of the Ultimate Sale on Xbox Live and purchased what is it? Assassin's Creed 2,
Good
Brotherhood, and Revelations.
I almost bought Brotherhood,
Brotherhood is
The
good.
other night-
Revelations
I'll let you
is
borrow
and then
that.
it was 6.5 gigs, and I was like, well, damn
Easy.
it,
I'll let
I
you
only
borrow it.
have 1 gig.
Yeah, but what you do is you buy a 32
There's
gig,
nothing I can do now.
32
Thank
gig
you,
thumb drive.
old
If you bought
Xbox.
that thumb drive.
I got you though. I'll let you borrow it. I have Brotherhood.
Alright. I've played through all the Assassin's Creed games except for 3. I'm
Nah.
currently playing through. I stopped playing through Revelations because it got kind of boring. I was like, so how much of this? How long are we going to beat the dead horse of Ezio Auditore? And I was like,
I like Ezio.
he's a good character, but I like the character from 3.
They wore him out.
Yeah, well, they wore him out because he had 4 games.
He had 3 games. The ones I mentioned. I got
4.
the Ezio story arc
He had a
because
PSP game too.
I had. Oh well,
I think so.
nah.
But
It was like a side.
I was a fan of what was it? It was
Altair.
Altair was okay. I liked Ezio better because he actually had a personality as compared to Altair.
Altair
I was a
was
fan
little
of the.
Eh.
There's like it was I forget the name of the series. It was basically a ninja assassin, sort of stealth game for PS1 and PS2, and I would really love to see.
Began with a T.
Thief.
Yeah, no, not Thief. It was I forget, but I would really like to see an Asian-oriented Assassin's Creed game because I think they could add a lot more to it. I mean, that you get the huge mysticism of that area. You get all the craziness that comes along with the mythology. I think it could be interesting. Oh. Or I just want a game that's set in the future or in the present where you're playing as, Desmond the whole time. Or, like...
Well, I'm sure they're building to that. And
yeah.
I'll go ahead. Well, here,
yeah,
I'll actually go ahead and say part of the news that I was going to read so we don't have to say it later.
Yeah,
Assassin's Creed 4,
Yep.
confirmed. It's a pirate game.
What's the
I've
subtitle?
seen it.
What's the
I've seen it.
subtitle?
Black Flag.
I think it's awesome.
I saw that this afternoon and I was like, that looks pretty sweet.
It's going to be pirates.
But I was thinking that
But
it's
he's
probably...
a ninja.
And
Yeah,
the
it
only
doesn't
reason
make any
he's a
sense. It
ninja
doesn't-
pirate. Yeah.
What if it was a game where you play as just Desmond, but it's one of his descendants reliving his life?
Well, no, that's probably going to happen. They're just
That would be
waiting.
cool.
Because that would be pretty
Yeah,
sweet.
yeah.
They're like, we need to figure out how not to have the world destroyed.
I really think that what's happening with this pirate one is they just want an excuse to use all that naval combat tech
And it was
that
so
they
good.
made for Assassin's Creed
That's
3.
one of my favorite parts of 3.
They were just like, man, we really spent a lot of time making this ocean look sweet and these ships break apart. Let's make a pirate game next.
Or they could make Skies of Arcadia 2. No takers.
I
I'd
like
play it.
Skies of Arcadia.
I love that game.
I would play that game again.
I would play it.
Okay, let's get back to some real news, guys.
Real news?
Real news. What else you got for me?
It's not gaming, it's not movie, but it's related because it's big stuff. The
Okay.
6 strikes rule has gone into effect as of the 27th. Those of you that may not be familiar with this is the new anti-piracy measure that they are putting in place with 5 of the major cable broadcasters and internet providers around the country. They will be monitoring requests from content license holders, and when they see that your IP has been breaking the stuff and they're notified by these content holders, they are going to pop up messages on your computer saying that you have been notified that you're violating copyrights. And it'll start out with the first one. The examples that I saw were from Comcast. They have a pop-up that initially just says, hey, you're doing this stuff, don't do it. And you can just close it. The second one that comes up, then it requires you to sign into your Comcast account. And each of these times they're also sending you correspondence to your Comcast email. But then it progressively gets harder and harder to get rid of this message. And I guess it's just going to stay there until you get rid of it. So you either have to figure out your stuff, you got to log into your account. The third time, you have to log in with the main primary account holder's information and go through and read the thing and agree to it. And then it gets to the point where on the 4th and 5th ones, you're logging in and then you're reading this big long thing and then agreeing to it, and then you can finally get on with your life. The 5th time, they notify you that they're going one more time and they will be sending mitigation, whatever that is. They're super vague about it, and none of the companies are really talking about what exactly they're going to do, whether the mitigation is going to be legal measures that they're going to pursue against you, or whether it's just going to be like some type of formal education that they're going to have you go through in order to get your internet turned back on. Or
you're going to get a ring at the doorbell, and when you answer the door, it'll be like, who is it? And it'll be like, goons. I've hired goons. And when you open the door, they're going to drag you out into a van. break your legs,
That's
make you
pretty
sign
much
a
the way
contract
it's
in
gonna
your
get,
own
yeah.
blood, and then throw you back in your own house.
That's pretty much the way it's going to get. But like a lot of the weird thing is that the whole intent behind this thing was to try and educate people like that are downloading this stuff illegally, to try and educate them and explain the alternatives to them and tell them why the copyright stuff is important. But none of the messages that are coming up on the computers really seem to be doing that. Like, they just seem to be saying, hey, you're doing this stuff, it's wrong. Here's a website you can go to and look at this stuff. But they don't really explain this stuff to you. And so it kind of seems like they're getting away from like the intent of the thing.
That's
and it's
because
really
all that money behind it.
Yeah, all the money behind all this stuff is coming from the license holders. Like, the people, the internet companies don't really have a say in it because their money all comes from the content holders, and they don't care about copyrights or freedom of speech or freedom of anything. They just want their money. And it's the same reason that none of the people on the other side of the argument have any say in this, is because they don't have any of the money. All the content holders do. But it's silly. It doesn't affect me. I don't download stuff illegally, so I don't care. But it does suck because it's like, for them putting up this message. I know internet companies do that, like, oh, hey, you haven't paid your bill, we're just going to redirect you to this website. That's one thing, but you're popping up stuff on my computer that I have to sign into to get rid of. It seems kind of silly. And I don't think it's going to be very effective. But that's really all I have on that. I just thought it's interesting and it's big news everywhere, and I wanted to mention it. And I mean, it is what it is. Like, there's never going to be a perfect solution for it because the content holders ultimately are going to always have the last say because they have all the money.
Yeah. They really do. I mean, Hollywood.
It's their content. I'm all about protecting content. Like, get paid for your stuff.
Okay, but it's not the same thing, though, in terms of, like, it's not that they're not getting paid. They're getting paid billions of dollars. They're making so much money, but they're unhappy that they're not making more money. So it's just them being, in my opinion, it's them being greedy. And, you know, who's to say that they should monitor what I'm doing on the internet? I hate that so much. Don't watch me while I'm doing anything. I'm playing a game. I'm chatting. Don't monitor any of that.
It's going to come down to being monitored.
I mean,
unless everything goes Google, I don't know if they'll even do it. They'll be like, "We're bigger than you. We don't care. We just don't."
Yeah, it's tough. It's interesting to see where it's going to go, and all these little things like this, they're all interesting milestones to say, "Oh yeah, okay, now this is a natural progression from what that was," and it's all very interesting. I'm of the feeling. I always used to record stuff off the radio onto a cassette tape. That's just what I did. I would give a cassette tape to my friend. He would have it.
Can't do that now.
He would have all that stuff on the cassette tape. Like, why is it bad now all of a sudden? People always made mixtapes. When CD burners first came out, you would always make CDs for your friends, like, of songs that you had. Like, you could share that.
I did that
Nobody
all the time.
ever cared about that.
No.
Nobody cared about that. If I try and send a movie to my friend, or a song to my friend now,
it's on.
It's on, and I'm going to get warnings on my computer and all this other stuff. It's silly. And the people that are the most egregious offenders, they're taking measures to block even being found out that they're sharing this stuff. So it doesn't affect them. It just affects the random guy that wants to go see what Game of Thrones is all about. And so he downloads a couple episodes, and then he gets flagged. And he's like, alright, I guess I won't watch Game of Thrones anymore.
I think this is actually going to cause more people to shy away from stuff they don't have ready access to. You know, and it's going to cause... It's with anything else. If you build a better lock, then someone else will build a better lock pick.
Yeah.
And that's all there is to it.
That's all that happens.
You've already got people taking precautions to stop these things, but there's always an alternative. Instead of downloading, you can stream.
Yep.
They can still watch that.
Yeah.
And they'll
but not as easily. And they don't want... like, there's several things that they mentioned. They even mentioned in the article, like, several things that you can do to get around it. Like, if you set up a VPN, they can't see your stuff. They can't monitor your traffic.
Yeah, that's pretty much what everyone's going to end up doing. And if you do... what was it?
And then cable companies will just be like, you can't have VPNs. If we see that you're on a VPN on the end of our network, sorry.
well, legally they can't do that. They can't just say you can't have a VPN. What if I need one for work? What if I genuinely need one? Were they going to go through a whole rigmarole?
Maybe you have to register your VPN.
Well, it all comes down to one thing: is that this is a gateway to an attempt to. No, it's a gateway to larger and more drastic measures of censorship and lockdown on the populace of people
and all that
Yep.
stuff.
I mean, it's the same way with a lot of things. It happens, not to mention it, but it happens in politics. It's the very political way where something will happen, and then they will pass a piece of legislation, and then someone else will look at that piece of legislation and use it as a gateway to step through for more drastic measures. So it's happening the same way with media.
It sets a stepping stone precedent that they can then boost their own. Yeah.
They're taking electronic stuff that is out there on the interwebs. Now, my main problem with this,
which for all intents and purposes is intangible.
Yeah, my main. It's a Blizzard did a very similar thing with the auction house and things like that. They wanted the people selling the electronic imaginary property for real time money. They wanted to cut down on that from destabilizing the economy in the games, and they wanted to slice the fat money cake at the same turn. So they took steps. But the way that it's working now is what if I'm an American and I'm watching these videos, okay? What if someone from, I don't know, Europe or South America or Asia is watching the same videos from the same sites that I'm on? Nothing's going to happen to them because they're not American citizens.
Yep.
So I happen to find that as a little unfair. If you can't, they did this with a lot of gaming software where they're trying to control through our government and other larger companies through legislation are trying to control the intellectual property on the internet, but they're not able to encompass the entire world. So the only people that are really getting punished are the Americans, and I find that as a little unfair. It's not exactly censorship, but I mean. Again, from the other perspective, I can see that if you pay for this intellectual property to be created, you have shareholders in your company that want the money. They're trusting you to give them the money that they invested in you. So you have to scramble to get it to them. It happens with the gas companies at the same time. Every gallon of gas you buy pays the tax for that company. So when you got shareholders breathing down your neck, people want to take steps. But at the same time, I think it's garbage that they're doing this. I mean...
Well, all right. They're making so much money. And I was going to say also, to your point, you're saying that the internet providers don't really have, a hand in the fight, but they do because, Time Warner, it's...
They do, and they're one of the ones on the list. It was Time Warner, Comcast, AT&T, Verizon, and... The fifth one is not
ours.
Yeah, the fifth one is not the one we're on. So,
but what was it? Comcast bought NBC Universal, so then they're like, "Well, don't be
which is basically
selling the stuff back and forth with the Revolution guys or The Voice, not Celebrity Apprentice because it's terrible." And and also to your point, there's so much money involved.
I heard the sadness in your voice. Just felt like
I crush you.
It was
You're fired.
It was that tone of voice like someone just kicked your puppy.
Better believe it. I will kick the crap out of any reality show. I think they're all horrible. Although The Rock has a new one coming out called The Hero. Right,
and
it's
you'll
just
watch
The Hero,
it.
right? Not heroes, but The Hero. But for the other thing with the piracy, they're not losing that much money. Mm-hmm. They're making billions upon billions. So why? Why are they still fighting for it?
It's hard to quantify exactly how much money they would be losing because
it is largely what it is.
Because there's nothing that measures the money you don't get.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It is an antiquated business way of doing business.
It is.
It is something that these media companies have been doing
for
so long, and
they're so reluctant to adapt to.
They don't want to change their business practice. So they're going to ham-fist the rest of us into changing our consumption process. And that's pretty much what it comes down to. I mean, you got record companies that have been doing the same business practice since they started.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they're so big. and they have
so
so much
bad at
sway.
it.
And they're
terrible at it now.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't know what to do. They're like, oh.
And they're like, oh, we got this iTunes thing. And now you got things like Spotify.
Yeah.
And
And
Pandora.
and
you can
they can't stand that stuff.
So there's now a subscriptionary service for each of those. And it's quote unquote better. But personally, if I want to listen to the radio, or songs, it's like, yeah, pirating music is not the greatest thing ever. But, the price that they're asking about these things makes it very appealing to a lot of people.
Yep.
But what are you doing, though? You're building awareness of the product. So then, now I know about it, because this kid over here is doing the latest craze or dance. What's the new one now? The
Harlem Shake?
Which I still don't know really what that is, and that's a purpose, that's a decision I have made because I had to go, deal with Gangnam Style for so long.
That was a good one, though.
It was actually good, and no one would know about it if it weren't for YouTube and everyone just sharing that song.
Here's the thing about YouTube, though, is YouTube has so much copyrighted material up on YouTube. What are they going to do about YouTube? Are they going to censor that next?
Yeah.
Well,
they already try to. They already take as much of it off of there as they can.
Everyone, and it's all the companies, Marvel, WWE, DC, it's Time Warner, they go through every day, and they go through. Series XM went through. For example, the Opie Anthony show. Those guys, they don't care about their show being streamed or whatever, or put on YouTube, because they want to get that fan base. They have people in Australia who don't have XM radio. But they found out the lawyers went to YouTube and cleared all their stuff off.
Yeah, that made me really unhappy because I was looking for a bit they did that I can't talk about on here because it's disgusting, but it's one of the funniest things I've ever listened to in my life. And I was thinking the other day, man, I'd really like to listen to this old bit. I can't. And the only way I'm going to be able to listen to it again is if I go to Audible.com. I believe this is the only way. Audible.com and pay like $55 or whatever it is to get their library of bits. And so now I'm like,
well, and that's largely because the companies have invested in Audible.com as a way to make more money.
Yeah.
And I mean, I like to watch certain TV shows, but I don't have the time, or I'm working too much. I mean, I work 7 days a week. It's pretty brutal, but I don't always have the time to sit down and watch Community or Walking Dead or Game of Thrones. I barely have enough time to catch the shows on Cartoon Network that I want to watch. Like, I watch Young Justice and Green Lantern, and nowadays on Nickelodeon I'll pick up Ninja Turtles because that's a great show.
Yeah, it's an awesome show.
It does the comics justice, which is something that I haven't seen in a very long time. And I love those shows, but I don't have time to watch them. So you look for an alternative. And you can always do things like, either you can wait a couple months and hope that it comes out on Netflix. You can go to Hulu, things like that. There's always an alternative. But it's the people that want to keep it. Like, you've got people probably that have, terabytes of bloat on their hard drive of just stuff. Like, I remember hating on people when I was in college because you get these jerks that would set up their P2P software, and it would just troll for stuff and just pull stuff out of the internet, and it would be there for hours because after a certain amount of time the bandwidth is freed up, and then they would just the peer-to-peer stuff would just suck it up.
Yep.
And I was trying to play World of Warcraft at the time, and I really liked playing my druid. So I just wanted to get off of a hard day at class, get back from the dining hall and log in, and
fun for you.
And there was like a 10-second lag on everything I did, and so what?
I was very fortunate. Our dorm each person had their own dedicated cable modem. And it was very nice.
Okay, here's the part. Here's the part where my friend Trey was my roommate. His mother had dial-up still at the time, so he would sign in on his dial-up, and we would take timeshare on to play World of Warcraft, and it was sad because at the time dial-up 56K dial-up was faster than what I was getting off the cable because it was so bogged down.
That's terrible.
But I mean, you had these people you've got these people that still do that kind of thing, and a lot of the peer-to-peer stuff is intentionally by the distributors and the companies intentionally filled with malware and viruses, and unless you go through the paid version of all those different services, half the stuff doesn't even work properly because they're trying to discourage that kind of thing. And I usually use a strictly, a good policy, kind of like how I do phishing. It's catch and release. If you download something, don't keep it. If you can help it, don't even download it. If you don't like a whole CD, you can go to Amazon and preview songs off the album to figure out if you want to buy it or not.
Mm-hmm.
And heck, if you really like it, you can go into iTunes and buy specific songs. So if you got that catchy CD that you want, that you don't like all of it, you just want that, you're one of those jerks that just buy a CD, an album for that one song on the radio. You can just download that,
Need my Gangnam Style.
Hey, I'm not going to judge for that one.
No, I don't.
The Lopan style was one of the best videos I've seen in a very long time.
I'm getting what was it? I still haven't done this, but I want to buy Gangnam Style on Dance Central 3, just because.
Yeah, you need to have that.
I want to have all the music from all the.
when we do the
Let's
Let's Play for Dance Central 3.
Yeah, we're gonna have Gangnam Style. We're gonna clear out this area, and it's gonna be big. It's gonna be open.
I have a feeling that someone will get hurt in the midst of that one.
This is gonna be pain. Marquise, did you? Have
Everyone will get hurt.
Let's see. You got anything else? Because we're starting to run down on time.
Oh, okay. Well, one of my big things was the New York Times this week. New York Post. I'm sorry, the Post spoiled a comic book this week for us. Batman Incorporated #8.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's a big deal because spoiler alert, Robin dies.
Is it part of the...
Which one?
Damian Wayne bites the dust.
Damian Wayne,
that's
really?
not such a bad deal. I didn't like that.
Now,
kid
is
anyway.
that crossover into the Batman and Robin?
Oh,
that crosses
yeah.
over to the
So you just
family
spoiled
stuff,
Batman
right?
and Robin too.
Well, pretty much.
I hate you.
Well, it isn't. Aren't they doing that?
You're gonna run into it
It's part of
anyway.
the part of the greater story arc of the Death in the Family thing with the Joker, right?
No, it's actually after Death in the Family.
That's already done.
Death in
right?
the Family just ended.
Death of the Family.
Death of the Family just ended.
How did that work out? Like, I never really saw that.
And Batman Incorporated,
Don't spoil that.
Okay, don't. Yeah, let's.
Sorry.
Do not spoil that. I will be so
I
mad.
apologize.
I will
Sorry.
crush everyone.
You guys can save that for the after the show. We'll
I'm
Okay, but-
back to the
I'm
news.
2
Okay,
issues
so
away
that-
from starting that arc.
Well, back to this. Basically, yeah,
so mad.
spoiler, he died. It's a big deal. Batman's son.
Yeah. I really wish he wasn't Batman's son, but that's okay.
Like
He's
Damian
an
Wayne.
illegitimate son, but yeah, nonetheless.
I'm a bigger fan of as Huntress as Bruce Wayne's daughter.
Well, they're in. Yeah, okay.
Anyways,
we're
go.
not-
Yeah,
we're-
keep going.
Okay. Archer got renewed for season 5.
Good.
Which is awesome.
13 episode arc. So that's awesome. They're also switching Emmy categories. They're going from outstanding animated show to outstanding comedy show.
Oh.
So they're moving up to the big leagues. So,
That's interesting.
yeah.
I don't know if they'll. No.
With 30 Rock gone, they've got a shot now.
And The Office going away.
Yep.
Well, this would be the last year for The Office.
Yeah.
So.
Thank God.
Hey, this last season.
This is
season
last
has
season.
been
This season.
torturous.
Oh, dude.
I
Okay,
thought this
anyways.
season. Okay.
Anyway,
we can talk about that for hours.
Community. Kim Jong just signed on for ABC's pilot Spy, starring Rob Corddry.
Makes me wonder what's going to happen.
To
after-
Community. Yeah.
Oh, you guys had 4 years graduate done by.
and
Chevy Chase is gone after the season too, anyway. So
he's actually written out. There's only going to be like 13 episodes with him in it. He's written out like 3/4 through the season.
Yeah.
well, it's they filmed like a bunch of these episodes, and I think they filmed the end, and then they did like 3 more episodes, and it's there that he's written out. So I don't know how they're going to do that.
I don't know
but-
how exactly like they intended to continue the series after it was. It's based around the community college, but at the same time, the original writer, producer guy, he basically said that he would like to expand it outside, but I don't think it'd be the same.
Well, it took me 7.5 years to finish college, so yeah, I think that if they want to take their time,
6 seasons in the movie. Bam.
oh, I am
6 seasson in a movie.
cool.
Amazing Spider-Man 2 news. Chris Cooper is signed on to play Norman Osborn.
I can see that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
So
don't know, Willem Dafoe.
yeah, I know Defoe.
He was scarier without the Power Ranger mask.
Don't get me started on the Power Ranger suit they gave him for the Goblin.
The suit wasn't bad. The helmet was the worst.
But yeah, so he signed on to be Norman Osborn along with Paul Giamatti's Rhino and Jamie Foxx's Electro.
3 villains. Huh.
Yeah.
That always works out
Jamie
well.
Foxx is Electro?
Yep.
Well, I bet this is the scuttlebutt. Norman Osborn isn't going to turn into the Green Goblin this film.
Until the end.
I really like
Probably at
the
the end or
Ultimate
the next
Spider-Man
one.
version of the Goblin.
Yeah, the Ultimate Spider-Man
The
Goblin.
way they
Awesome.
did
No, that's
that,
really-
the
that's
way
not
they
really
did that in
well.
the animated series was way good.
Yeah, but he had to learn to talk and
Did
stuff.
you see the
That
new
was awesome.
costume? The new costume looks pretty cool.
For what?
New costume, new Spider-Man costume looks good.
What,
But
is
I'm
it
not.
the- is
I'm
it
not-
It's the
Different from the
same
one-
costume.
It's the same thing. Though.
It's
I'm
the
not
same.
really.
It's not the same.
It more or less is the
I
same.
do. I haven't.
It's a little brighter, a little
It's a little
bluer.
I haven't seen the newer Spider-Man film. I've just
It's
seen
good.
parts of it. I heard it was pretty good, but
I
it
liked
had
it.
some
Yeah.
flaws.
Yeah.
I mean, anything's better than the third
No.
Spider
You didn't get it?
Spider-Man 3.
I
Yeah, oh, yeah,
I keep
anything's
thinking
bit-
about it because I haven't bought the box set for Batman yet because I keep thinking, well, I could take that money and go get the 3D Spider-Man, which I've been wanting to watch more than Dark Knight Rises. And
Dark
I already,
Knight-
I already,
I got the regular
Dark
Blu-ray
Knight
for
Rises
Spider-Man.
was good.
Mhm.
It was a great ending because I liked how Nolan brought things to an end where you never really see an ending to that kind of film. But at the same time, my only gripe, I enjoyed watching to see the actual physical effects of being Batman on Bruce Wayne.
yeah, that
But
was.
my only gripe with the film is that Batman never quits.
He
Batman never quits. There will be 2 things left after the apocalypse. It will be 3: Twinkies, cockroaches, and Batman. Because Batman never quits.
Well, apparently he dove out of a moving vehicle about 5 feet from a nuclear explosion, so he's irradiated now and can live forever.
Batman is DC's Jesus. He can do all and no wrong.
I thought that would be Superman because Superman's their flagship, or he carries their flagship.
No.
It's
Batman is their flagship. Superman used to be. But anyway, Matthew Vaughn is producing the new Fantastic Four reboot.
It can be better than the first 2. Then I will give that man a hug.
Which is citing that Fox might be trying to do their own mini Marvel U. That Matthew Vaughn had directing with X-Men.
He did. He's
X-Men. I think he's got a producer credit with X-Men, and they could be trying to form their own mini Marvel U.
I'd say he will be on Days of Future Past. Like he's working on that, right?
Well, Singer is directing.
He is directing, yes.
But I
Is
think
Vaughn
Vaughn is.
involved?
I think he's involved maybe with a small producing credit.
Okay.
I that's not verified, but that's just me off the top of my
I
head.
don't know.
But that would spell bad things for Marvel in itself having a mini Marvel U.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like no, that's not what we wanted.
Well, all
Does that work through legality and things like that?
they own the rights.
They own
for the
technically they own the
movies.
rights to the movies. However, if this movie if the Fantastic Four reboot doesn't do well,
Are they going to go for a computer generated the thing or?
We don't know.
We don't
'Cause
know.
We're too far away from that.
They haven't even cast
I did
it
like
yet.
Michael Chiklis. Like Chiklis he's a great actor. I loved him in The Shield, and he actually did the character justice. It's just he wasn't big enough.
Yeah,
The thing should be 9 feet tall and just as wide.
He's a golem. He really is, and they didn't. He was just something off of Mighty Morphin Power
And
Rangers.
as long as it's not Jessica Alba playing Susan Storm, that chick couldn't act her way out of a wet paper bag.
But she's nice to look at.
That's not the point.
Sometimes it is.
Speaking of superhero movies, I wanted to interject. I don't know if you got this, but I really wanted to bring this up. JoBlo.com had a... were you going to bring this one up?
What?
No. Superman, Man of Steel.
Okay.
Some guy went to go see it because it's done. They're doing 3D conversion right now and post-conversion, and apparently it's outstanding. You're taking Zack Snyder's talent for explosions and awesome special effects and mixing in Christopher Nolan's, logic-based filmmaking. So you have what is to be the best Superman ever, and this person said movie of the year. Cool thing though.
Superman 3 is the best Superman.
That is not
Shut
true. Shut your mouth.
Sinner.
I would like to say this, that I've watched all the Superman movies, and
He fought a giant computer, guys. It was so cool.
though entertaining, they were all awful.
They didn't really get the gist of Superman.
No, it was
and
more-
It was
it-
campy at times. I hate
At times? Are you serious? At
all of
times?
it. All of it.
He
All right.
fought a sun-based clone of himself, and he tried to defeat him.
Nuclear
Man, by dropping him on the moon in an elevator. It was awful. And I mean, Gene Hackman did do a good job as Lex Luthor.
Yeah,
but
Gene Hackman's great.
Richard
the newer
was so funny.
Superman Returns was
He
awful.
Lex Luthor. Already Superman Returns. Lex Luthor
Yeah,
thinks.
His villain, his major
Kevin
opponent
Spacey
in
did
that
do a good
film
job.
was a giant island.
He did
Yeah.
do a good job, but the whole
It was.
problem
He
was.
fought a giant kryptonite island.
But the major problem with that film was that there wasn't enough Supermaning in a Superman film. Mm-hmm. Aside from the initial landing of the plane and then taking the island into outer space, you were like, "This is
And
this is a boring movie about Superman still loving Lois Lane, but she's
And
moved on to
lifting heavy
Cyclops."
things.
By the way, he's got a kid now.
Oh, that just added a whole new level to the story.
Where's the Super Dog? It really,
I want Crypto.
it really did replace like Superman 3. Though they basically said Superman 1 happened, Superman 2 I think happened, and then Superman 3 and 4 didn't happen.
Yeah.
And frankly, I just wanted them to abandon all those movies, and that's what they're doing with this new one.
Yep.
First, the cape is CG, so it looks awesome always. You know, it's not like the dopey looking cape, and it's like, why are you wearing this stupid cape? Because when he does anything, it's going to look amazing. Secondly, all the action is not in the trailers. Like, they're just holding back tremendous amounts of awesome
Because
action.
that's called Christopher Nolan being smart and saying,
Are they
"Hey,
so
don't."
are they trying to
Yes.
revive? Are they trying to revive Superman as
Yes.
the face of DC?
Yeah.
They're trying to
Because-
set up the Justice League movie.
Yeah, if
I
this,
heard that's
if this,
really going to be in trouble.
It is in trouble.
Oh,
if
it
this
is.
doesn't do well, there is no Justice League
'Cause
movie.
the Justice
They'll just
League,
make another Batman at some point.
the difference between the Avengers and the Justice League personally is
Please make another Batman.
the Justice League has so many members comparatively.
Uh,
But they have now. Well, they've slimmed them down over the years.
well, no, the Justice League and the Avengers both have a ridiculous amount of characters. If you go back through their history, it's,
Oh yeah, but
it's
you
insane.
you gotta take the original, like you gotta take the base members that everyone knows about. So, I'm actually looking forward to, if they do go ahead with the Justice League movie, I would love to see a really well done Wonder Woman film, because you gotta have the big three. You know,
There's never going to be
A Wonder Woman film.
a Wonder Woman anything. Because every time
Of course,
they try,
there
it's
is a
terrible.
fan film with the trailer right now online. I forget where I saw the site is. It looked amazing.
The best Wonder Woman thing I've ever seen was the animated film.
that one was really good.
It was fun.
But I can't imagine having the Justice League without Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman in it.
Well, no,
Well,
it's
they'll
gotta
all
have
be in
Wonder
it.
Woman.
They'll
be
well,
in it.
Here is the roster for the Justice League movie. It'd be Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman.
Green Lantern.
It'll be Flash. It'll be a Green Lantern. It'll be Martian Manhunter. And
Hawk something.
Probably
Woman.
Cyborg.
and Hawkman. They're
Aquaman.
dropping the Aqua.
See,
They're dropping Aqua.
See, why are
No,
they dropping
they're
Aqua?
not.
See, that's
Aquaman's
what made the
alright.
Avengers such a good movie. Aside from the Avengers movie being amazing, the fact that they had a slimmed down roster comparatively, and almost every member of the team was either co-starring in other ones' movies or they had their own centered movies. I mean, Iron Man 1 and 2 was really good. I loved Captain America. I really loved Thor. Thor was a really amazing movie comparatively.
Two's
And-
going to be awesome.
Yeah, I know. And-
Thor was just okay. It wasn't exactly what I thought it would be.
I enjoyed
was-
it
I was a little
as a
bit
better
disappointed.
origin story. Like
Yeah.
the Captain America had a lot of really good sequences in it, but to really make the event to make the Avengers movies better, they introduced Black Widow and Hawkeye in the other movies. Even though they're not the main Avengers, they didn't have their own films. You still knew who they were, but to go with the Justice League, you have to give the main ones their own movies and then star the other ones in the same way, or you're not. Someone's going to be like, "Who's that guy?"
Well,
You know?
that's the problem with the Justice League movie too. Is they're saying they were trying to get the Batman reboot off the ground, and they're saying they're pushing the Batman reboot till after the Justice League movie is scripted and penned.
Yeah.
And if that gets pushed, and that's only it works out if Superman does well.
I
I
hope
mean,
it does.
no matter what, we're going to get more Batman.
We're gonna get more Superman. We'll
We'll get Superman, but if it doesn't do well, then we're not going to get another
with
Superman
Nolan,
for 8 years, 10 years.
we'll get it because they're putting Nolan's name on it. We'll get it. The Nolan fanboys will come out.
All right. It's exhausting. Like the preview, I thought looked good, and then to hear someone say it's actually really amazing, and that kind of gets me amped for the
So
summer.
we have to wait a couple more
I
months.
just
Yeah, this summer is going to be big, which it's going to bring... If you're done with the news, I was going to wrap it up with kind of a look forward to the... You got some more? Mm-hmm. Okay, Marquise.
Oh, yeah. My last bit was about Guardians of the Galaxy.
that movie looks good.
Last week, it was rumored that we said Jason Momoa was going to play Drax. Well, from this, apparently now, talks fell through. He might not play Drax. So they're looking back at their front runners. Will be like Batista, Isaiah Mustafa, the Old Spice guy.
That's my pick right there, man. Old Spice guy. He is huge.
I
He is
want him.
ripped.
No. I want
He's
him.
way cool.
I want him as Luke
Dude,
Cage.
man.
Oh,
He wants Luke Cage.
that would be awesome. I would love to see
That
him
would be
as Luke
sweet.
He
Cage.
wants Luke Cage like Dr. McDreamy wants Doctor Strange, and I think he would be a great Doctor Strange. He's
I got
old.
goosebumps from that. That's really nerdy, but yeah, little.
That'd be
No,
Yeah.
I can
Yeah.
agree. I do think the Old Spice guy would be an amazing Luke Cage.
Yeah.
That would be.
That'd be pretty great.
He's said like they've got sound about him going Sweet Christmas and stuff. It sounds amazing.
Okay, but who's going to be Drax then? We got
Well,
it's either Batista or the other guy. That I
or
don't
Patrick
know.
Wade from Generation Kill.
See, I never saw that.
Yeah, so
I
those are
heard it
their
was good.
three front runners. It'll probably be Batista.
That wouldn't be so bad.
He wouldn't be bad because I watched
Batista Berg.
I don't think I mentioned this yet, but I watched The Man with the Iron Fist.
Was that a
And
good
I
movie?
still didn't get to watch that yet.
If you like 70s kung fu, you'll like this film. Period.
I'll have to borrow it off you then because I love
No, 70s.
I love 70s kung fu and I love old westerns. I have the entire Clint Eastwood collection and I watch it like once a year.
But also throw logic out the door, and this is a Quentin Tarantino joint. Little what's that guy Eli Roth? I think had a little action in there.
RZA.
So guess what? Blood everywhere. It's very bloody. There's actually no nudity, I don't think, but it's
That's
just
really
bloody,
strange.
bloody. So prepare.
I mean, it's also after I watched when I see that one, I really want to
that
watch
might. I love
Django
blood.
Unchained. I heard that was a great film as well.
Yeah, I do wanna see
Tarantino's
that.
in the last couple of years, we had a long quiet
on
spell from
fire.
him, and he cranked out a couple good ones. So
Go ahead, Eli.
All right.
Lots of news.
We mentioned something about this a little bit earlier. We were talking about the Walking Dead game briefly. There's actually going to be a little bit of content coming out before the new Season 2 of the Walking Dead game comes out. They're not sure exactly. They haven't announced exactly what it's going to be, but there is going to be a little bit of something to tide people over until Season 2 starts with its first episode. I don't really have any movie releases that are exciting this week, and Jack the Giant Slayer starts tomorrow in theaters.
I'm kind of interested.
I'm interested in seeing it because it looks fun.
It looks like a movie you'd go mindlessly to see, but at the
It's
same
something
time,
I've always been
the
interested in.
production value does look really good.
It looks nice.
But with movie prices being $10,
$10,
Terrible.
yeah.
Nah, it's $10 for the non-3D.
I don't know about you guys. I only pay $5 to go see a movie.
Because he drives 45 minutes away to a college town to go see them,
Yep.
which I think, well, you probably get better gas mileage than I do.
I do.
So.
I was about to say that, there's so many options the way, but I think the last movie I saw was The Hobbit.
Yeah, I
Which-
loved seeing that. It was great.
I'm going to bring something up about that here in a second, but
THQ, the second batch of stuff that THQ owns is going to be auctioned off April 1st through the 15th. So if you would like to purchase Big Mother Truckers so that you can make a new one and reboot the franchise.
Yes, I'm in.
Do we have any? Do you have any news on who bought the Darksiders franchise?
That's in this bunch. They're breaking it up into 6 groups.
Did someone pick up-
Darksiders 1 and 2 is one of the ones that's
Did
going to be
someone pick up
auctioned.
Vigil?
No, I don't think anybody picked up Vigil
I
that
thought I
I
heard
know of.
there was scuttlebutt about it. I don't know.
Because I really liked Vigil's work, and
Yeah.
just mainly because Darksiders 1 and 2.
I loved both of those.
Joe
They're
Madrero is my
amazing.
favorite comic book artist. He's one of my favorite artists. I've followed his work since he started on he did a little run on X-Men. The first time I saw him is when he was doing
He was
X-Men,
really good.
and it was really good. Yeah, agreed. And and then he brought out Battle Chasers, which was one of the first comic books I collected the entirety of, and I loved the crap out of it. But
Yeah.
then he stopped making it for some reason. They had a couple of issues that were afterwards, and when I heard he was making video games now, it just blew my mind. And then I played Darksiders, and it was a great game. And Darksiders 2, which I've played through multiple times, is an amazing game. And I was really saddened when THQ, even though they did it to themselves, went under. Because number one, I enjoyed Darksiders, and number two, I enjoyed the crap out of 40K Space Marine. That was one of the best third-person... I think...
And that already got picked up. Somebody already picked up the Space Marine stuff.
Good, because in my mind, I don't really want people to hate, but I think 40K Space Marine does Gears of War better than Gears of War.
It's good.
3 was really good.
3 was good. The whole entirety of the 40K Space Marine, the 40K universe, I mean, their RTS and all kinds of stuff. I really am glad that someone picked that up because that is it's a wealth.
There's crazy fiction to go along with that stuff.
Yeah.
That universe is insane.
Books and books.
I've played the tabletop game. I've read some of the books, and it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, that universe is really insane. Some of the other great things that are up for grabs they're splitting them up into 6 lots. So whenever they buy it, they're going to get multiple things out of some of these. Like MX versus ATV is in there. The Red Faction series is all in one lot, so somebody could just buy that outright. De Blob, Worms, and Costume Quest.
Worms? Like Worms Armageddon?
Yeah, like some of the recent ones.
I think I might have to take a mortgage out of my house for that. I love that series.
Yeah. I know Double Fine is looking to try and probably buy the rights back to Costume Quest and stacking. So that
Double
would be...
Fine. That's a company that I'm really looking forward to what they're doing.
I know, like, we haven't, like, because of all the news that we had previous weeks, we didn't really get to say anything about new releases. I'm just going to run through them real quick. The ones that came out this week that are worth noting. Banner Saga Factions. It's a free-to-play PC game. It's kind of a strategy, turn-based game. It looks pretty fun. Etrian Odyssey 4 for the 3DS. Ninja Gaiden Sigma 2 Plus for the Vita. Top Hand Rodeo Tour for the Xbox 360. That's the biggest release this week, I think.
Top Hand Rodeo Tour?
Yeah, it's a rodeo game. It's a disc-based release, as far as I know.
Slightly interested for some reason.
Yeah, it might be weird enough to look at.
I might have to dust off my Garth Brooks collection.
There's also Mud.
I just threw up on my mouth.
FIM Motocross World Championship for the PS3, Vita, 360, and the PC. And what may be one of the longest video game titles ever, but I love it because it's great. Bit Trip presents Runner 2, Future Legend of Rhythm Alien. And that's coming out to PC, Wii U, Linux, Macs, XBLA, and PSN. Brutal Legend, speaking of Double Fine, is coming out to PC, which is
Brutal Legend was awesome.
Yeah, the game was a lot of fun.
Were they talking about adding more support to it too? Like
I'm not sure.
I heard rumor they wanted to add a little bit more.
Who cares about extra content? I want a second one. I want Brutal Legend 2. That game
second
was
one
so
would
good.
be great.
Well, it did sell really.
Persona 2. Persona 2 is coming out as a PS1 classic on the PlayStation Network.
Excellent.
So it's a kind of slow week unless you like rodeos and re-releases of old games. And since we won't have another podcast till next Thursday or Friday, I want to, going forward, I want to say the releases that are coming up on Tuesday, so you have something to look forward to. So I'm really excited about next Tuesday's releases. I have 2 words for you. Sim City.
I'm going to say Tomb Raider, but...
No.
That's
not.
Raider.
No.
That's later.
Everything that
Sim
Tomb Raider
City.
does, I've seen better in Uncharted already.
I am so excited for the new Sim City. Like you don't even know. PC and Mac, that's coming out. Showdown Effect, which is an interesting PC kind of... It's almost MOBA-ish, but it's deathmatch. It's weird. You should check it out. It's pretty cool. Tomb Raider, of course, coming out for Xbox, PS3, PC, and Mac. Castlevania Lords of Shadow Mirror of Fate for the 3DS. I don't know what to think about that game. I'm getting kind of mixed. Mixed feelings.
There's a not a beta, but a demo.
There's a demo.
I'm just
Why don't you
looking
check that out?
I'll need to check that out.
With all the stuff that I've seen on Lords of Shadow 2, I'm heavily anticipating. I played the first one and all of its DLC, and it was a breath of fresh air to the franchise. So
yeah, the stuff they're showing for the DS game looks kind of to me. I don't know how to feel about it. I will check out the demo, though. I didn't realize that was out as well. I was blindsided by Monster Hunter.
You played the wrong one.
I did. I played the wrong game. That demo was awful. Awesome.
Yeah.
Naruto Shippuden Ultimate Ninja Storm 3. PS3 and 360. Kind of looking forward to that, too.
I love those games. I'm a shameless shamelessly saying that I do love,
They're a lot
I
of
love
fun.
Naruto, and those games are
The
so
company,
much fun.
the company that makes those is great. They do a really good job
Really good-
capturing the feel
and
of
you can
the
play
animation.
it with the Japanese or the
American.
voice actors.
Yes.
Yep.
I wish you could mix and match it, kind of like you can do with Street Fighter 4, where you can pick which voice to do
Yeah.
each character.
Mm-hmm.
So you can make someone more authentic.
That
is
would
what
be
you're trying
kinda
to
weird.
get at.
Yeah, yeah, 'cause-
he is from Japan, so let's have him speak.
Yeah, because you
Japanese.
would play as the Japanese voice.
I
Because-
hate the American voice actor for Naruto because he sounds
so
like
Believe
whiny.
he sounds like a whiny grandma.
Just died a little bit. Thanks.
But Kakashi's
MLB
not bad.
13, the show, PS3 and Vita. Who cares? A throwback already to our first episode of the podcast. I mentioned Kersploosh for
Uh-huh.
the eShop on the 3DS.
Uh-huh.
That's coming out next week. I think the 7th, maybe. But it is the one where you are a pebble being thrown down a well and you have to dodge obstacles on the way down. So
Meh.
Okay. That's all I'm gonna say. Okay.
it
You guys, this is why you're
seems
the
like a
hardcore
cool
gamer, Ethan.
use of 3D.
See, it's
Oh
a
yeah,
shameless,
yeah. It'd be a cool use
It
of
seems
3D.
it seems
yeah.
cool for that because it's so much depth
It
and
is
you're
a
just
shameless posturing of trying to sell that 3D technology. Like
It's
am
not really.
sure.
I don't know that it's really that because this is just it's
I don't know,
more of
then
an
again, I
independent
did
little
buy
game
Flow
that they're
for
just
the
trying to
PSN.
take advantage of what they got.
Well,
And it looked like an interesting thing.
I wish, like, I liked the Kinect had like it's kind of like I view the 3DS as kind of like the Kinect. It's something that I don't need, but it's fun when you use it properly.
Yeah.
And I hope that a bunch of the smaller companies take initiative and make good products for it. Because I used to hate on the Kinect, and then Nate and a couple of people that have one showed me some of the games that are a lot of fun. Like I sat there for hours with a couple of my friends' kids just playing, what was it, the Power Up Heroes.
Power Up
And I had a
Which actually is
blast.
fun.
And it was great, and I did the same thing with the Move. Like, the Move was a lot of fun to play. Like, I played that Gladiator game for, 6 hours, and I was sore as crap the next day. But a few good companies take control of publishing small mini-games and things like that, and it made it good. So I hope Nintendo lets someone else take the reins from that giant.
And it seems that the eShop stuff is kind of doing that. Like
It's
a
good.
lot of the eShop stuff tends to leverage the system strengths a little bit more than what some of the first party stuff does itself. Which is why I'm excited to see stuff like Kersploosh, because it's such a random little thing. It's something that you could pick up and play a little bit, and then be satisfied, and then you can put it down and come back to it later.
Like Castle Crashers.
Yeah, like stuff like that.
Okay, so you wrapped up.
And
with,
that
one?
is all that I have for
Awesome.
today.
I wanted to get into our final thing for the day. Ran a little long. Basically, this is going to air or be available March 1st. Correct?
Yeah.
Tomorrow?
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
Wrapping up February.
Totally wrapped.
So we're going to start, because we also like the wrestling, we're going to call it March Mania, because next month is epic.
Wrestle.
I don't know if you guys have noticed, but not just with video games. What's coming out? What's the biggest game coming out next month? I can ask any of you, and you're going to name something different, and it's going to be great. I know what you're thinking. Give me PC game. One you're looking forward to. I'm shaking anticipation.
StarCraft 2, Heart of the Swarm.
Ah! Marquise.
Splinter Cell, Blacklist.
Is that next one?
Yep.
Oh my gosh! Okay. Can you name one?
Since I don't play a lot of console games, the one thing I'm looking forward to the most, since I love the game so much, is the Citadel DLC for Mass Effect 3.
No.
Yeah, bam.
Bioshock Infinite.
Oh,
Who cares?
Oh, come
about
on! Yeah!
How did the
Isn't
What day
Gears
is that out?
Isn't Gears
Wait a
coming
minute.
out next month?
Wait a
too?
minute.
So
Yeah, I
far?
think
Yeah.
it is
Okay,
too.
okay. So hold on.
All right,
hold on.
okay.
I'm not done yet. I'm not done yet.
Okay.
Because also movies. Okay, movies. We
right.
have The Hobbit coming out the 19th.
Yeah,
I'm
March
excited for that.
March 5th, Tomb Raider Castlevania.
Mm-hmm.
March 12th, Heart of the Swarm. March 19th, Gears of War Judgment and Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate.
Okay.
Then the 26th, Bioshock Infinite.
So March is
Yeah.
going to be insane. Now, hold on.
played games. I
Hold
played
on. I'm not done yet, because we also got
I hate my life.
movies. Because, like I said, we got The Hobbit the 19th.
Yeah.
Now, what was one of the most critically acclaimed movies of last year, Life of Pi. Now I'm
Yeah,
going to get that
I'm
in
excited
3D.
to see that.
I heard
So
that was an excellent film.
we can have a 3D viewing party here
Excellent.
and do a live blog on it, which is something I want to try with Dread 3D here soon. And then also
want to see that movie very badly.
next week is Wreck-It Ralph.
Oh yeah.
That movie.
Oh, yeah.
I want to see it. I didn't get a chance to
I
see
think
it
I'll
in
have
theaters,
to pick
but
that up.
it looks really good.
I'm gonna like it.
Dude, this month is going to bankrupt me, okay? I can't even buy everything. Think now, who here is, mind blown? All the stuff coming out. Because I am.
I completely forgot about Gears of War and Bioshock.
Wait,
Infinite
I
this month.
thought
With Heart of the Swarm, I played
G.I.
through,
Joe's dropping next month too.
Oh, yeah, G.I. Joe's coming out this month.
Yeah.
G.I. Joe's.
I played through StarCraft 2.
We're midnight in that, right?
And I liked it, but I didn't like it.
It's gonna be
enough.
tough because we're gonna be doing a podcast.
I think
Yeah,
I was
I know,
bitter because I didn't get the whole game all at once.
We could do a podcast right into it, and then maybe do a podcast after.
Because I just want to play the Protoss campaign.
I felt
We'll do one
like
Friday.
the first StarCraft had
StarCraft
it was a complete enough game
StarCraft
for me.
1 was great.
We could have a G.I. Joe special.
I just
Yeah.
hope that I'm just
I
hoping
think the
that,
first part- I think
that
Wings
with
of Liberty was
Activision driving Blizzard now, that they'll
about
bring
that
out
Monday.
sequels
All right.
sooner than 13 years down the road.
Yeah.
But with Heart of the Swarm coming out, I'll give it a look, but I probably might not buy it because I didn't think Wings of Liberty or whatever it was called gave me enough, and I don't really dig the multiplayer. I like the single player, so I wanted to play through it in sequence.
I like to act like I dig the multiplayer.
Yeah, but you're not Korean.
And I'm
so
not Korean, and I'm
no.
not like a crazy 12-year-old kid that.
I just don't like the
Eats
meta.
candy all
I don't
the
like the meta. I like to
no,
sit
it's
down.
terrible.
I like to sit down and play. Because what I hate, I want to make my big army of dudes. I want to go crush the enemy. I don't want to be clicking on specific units to do a spell for like this and this. And I just want to like. The one thing I hated the most was I built the Colossi in large numbers because they're big, imposing battle walkers. For some reason, a giant machine that can walk over terrain and just rake thermal lances all over the place and just wreck your shop. For some reason, the Protoss, a millennia-old civilization, didn't think to put anti-air weaponry on this giant machine. That is the dumbest thing I have ever heard.
Yep. Here come the Vikings.
And you're like, oh, there goes
I'll
my
wait for
investment of half my stuff. So, StarCraft 2, played the crap out of it, finished it, put it down. So maybe I'll pick up StarCraft 2's first expansion.
Well, it's not. I mean, you can play as a standalone game, right?
Yeah, but that's
so-
what I hated initially, because StarCraft 1, you got all 3 campaigns.
But
and you got expansions.
they were also
More
not
expensive.
as fleshed
Well, so
out.
you have a
They
real
were
one, though.
they were much shorter,
Yes.
and it didn't have as much other stuff to do.
I think it's what it is it's the Activision business model is driving Blizzard to actually get up off their duff and do something important.
I don't know that
Yeah.
that's necessarily the case. I think Blizzard just saw an opportunity to say, instead of making you wait a billion years for us to put out all of these at once, we'll space them out a little bit. Give us a year and a half, 2 years in between each one, and
Or they were just saying, World of Warcraft is slowing down. We'll bring it out after the next expansion, where everyone's distracted with how shiny this new thing is, and then we'll put all the people that we had working on the expansion back onto something important, which is another StarCraft game, because Korea is chomping at the bit, and they need something new to beat the Americans at. So.
Yeah.
Just South Korea note, because the North Koreans are playing with rocks.
Yeah.
Aw, that's a
playing
little
with
much.
Have you seen some of the, I've actually watched some of the tournament footage, and the Koreans are ridiculous. I really think that the people that play those games are cyborgs. They have to be robots. I mean,
They dedicate their lives just to playing that game.
people have died.
That's it.
People have died in
have died.
South Korea because of StarCraft.
And
That's
Warcraft.
dedication.
World of Warcraft, where they're sitting there like, I'm gonna just abandon my children and go to the internet cafe for 2 days straight and let the kids starve and die. Oh, cool.
That's dedication. Maybe they were they wanted to hit the groundbreaking. It was probably when BWL came out and they wanted to get past Razor Gore the Guildbreaker.
the world first.
It's so.
They got that the world first achievement.
I was our dedicated guild Razor Gore controller. I was breaking the eggs.
I was a paladin, so I just nerfed.
See,
them.
I don't
Paladin
have a
too.
PC, so I have a laptop, and I don't have a PC like you guys do. So I
A
don't,
gaming rig.
I don't have a hardcore
I want a Microsoft
gaming rig,
Surface.
I'm actually looking forward to, in a small degree, I've been keeping an eye on it.
I actually do.
I don't mean to drag this on, but Final Fantasy XIV, the hugest flop of MMO history. It actually lost stock for the company. That game was a
It's
piece
definitely
of
the
garbage.
hugest.
No, I'm
it's
saying-
definitely the biggest flop.
But
APB.
No,
that game was actually good.
it lasted
Yeah.
a little bit. Final
No.
Fantasy didn't even come
Final
out.
Fantasy was out. Final Fantasy
It came out,
14
and
was
then they
out
took it
for-
away.
That's
It
pretty
was-
much.
it was out for
bankrupted the
2
company immediately. Like
Well,
within
it's
2
because
months.
it was so bad. It was.
No, APB. I'm talking about.
Oh.
It came out and it bankrupted the company within 2 months. They were done. They shut
Yeah.
it down. Then it had to come back as
Final
another
Fantasy
game. Like this
14
is.
has basically the person that stepped in was the guy the team that part of Team Italy stepped in, and it was the guy that did Final Fantasy 4 and 6, like the good Final Fantasy games that I love and cherish. And he basically said, you know what, this is antiquated garbage, this whole series. So they took a page from the playbook of Final Fantasy 11 and they brought classes back. So it's like, oh, so instead of like a garbage combat system, they brought back some of the stuff that people recognize. And I hated Final Fantasy 14, but I'm glad I got it and hated it because I built a computer for it, so now I can play everything else.
Give me Kingdom Hearts 3. We talked about this last week.
Yes, I agree.
Give me Kingdom Hearts 3.
I'll tell you what they'll give you. They'll give you something half as good, Marquise. Kingdom Hearts 1.5
I actually
HD remix.
I actually think that Kingdom Hearts should go away, and they should take that guy away from Kingdom Hearts and give him back to the series that I love more, which is Secret of Mana, because he stopped making Secret of Mana.
If they made a new Secret of Mana game, though.
That didn't suck. Most Secret of Mana games are awful.
It'd be so amazing.
Anyway, but I hate Square Enix is another company that I've got beef with, and they actually
No.
you know that they're in a bad place when they have to buy another company that makes better games than them, so they can actually make some money.
Well, Square Enix is publishing Tomb Raider. They published.
And they bought that
Oh.
company so they could have someone to relate to, because they don't know what the Western market wants.
That reminds me, it's either going to be a new game or a new movie. But who was it? Square Enix, Squeendos, whatever you want to call it. Recently,
Squeedios.
Squeedios.
they recently bought the rights to, Deus Ex Domain. It was like Deus Ex Human something.
They're making a movie.
I know they're making a movie, but they could also be making another game to tie into the movie, because
Which
the
wouldn't
last
be
game,
so bad.
last game came out in 2011, right?
I
The
still
game
haven't
wasn't
finished
wasn't bad.
I love it.
I would have personally preferred it in a third person view.
Well, yeah, because you switch to third person half the time. It's like, oh,
Exactly.
you're doing this awesome
Were
move.
you doing the
now I'm
awful-
in third person.
Yeah, there's no point in me doing stealth moves in third person to go back to first person. Dumb.
It's kind of like when I was playing Metal Gear Solid 4. I played the entire game. Like, you had the option to switch to first person. The only time I switched to first person was to shoot people, because that's the only time it was useful. The rest of the time, I wanted to see the cool things that were going on.
I want to see cool stealth moves. I want to see, that's my whole thing. That was my thing with Syndicate. That wasn't
You
third
need to
person.
play Metal Gear Solid 4 again.
No,
No, you
you
don't.
got too many games on your plate. All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up for us here at the Time Rust Brain Trust. We had a good talk, and soon we're going to be covering a whole bunch of stuff for this March Mania, and of course that'll lead us to
I'm so excited.
WrestleMania in early April. So I'm excited, everyone's excited, Steve's excited, and we'll catch you again on the flip side, so goodbye.
Peace out. Buy more comics.
Take her easy.